Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Cannoli. We are back with Putty Man and Campo. This is a little tag to the Campo video he just dropped recently about James Bond. So we decided we're going to do a little favorite James Bond video games to tie in with the release of No Time to Die and to tie in with RLG's videos on James Bond. So like I said, with us today, right below me is Putty Man. And over to my side here is Campo. All their stuff will be down in the bios below. So without further ado, we're going to have Putty Man start with your number 5 James Bond game.
All right. So I'm probably going to get a lot of slack because a couple of these I just played and they might not have been that good. But my number 5 is James Bond 007.
James Dobb.
James Dobb.
But James Bond 007 Nightfire on PS2.
That's a good game. Campo.
So my number 5 here is one that I played on the PlayStation. Tomorrow Never Dies. Surprising amount of hours I put into that game, and I bought it recently to keep it. So
yeah. My number 5 is the return of Sean Connery to video game acting or could be the first time, and it's From Russia with Love.
Honorable mention.
That was a really, really good game and it's well worth a mention. Putty Man, you're number 4.
Number 4 for me is GoldenEye Rogue Agent for the Xbox.
Nice, very nice.
OG Xbox.
My number 4 is for the PlayStation DOS. Mostly when I'm saying these is where I played it. Just
FYI.
Agent Under Fire.
Nice. My number 4 is a one that's already been mentioned, was Nightfire.
Okay. My number 3, it's going to be, it's probably a shocker. The World Is Not Enough on Nintendo 64.
It would be a shocker.
Yes, because it did not get good reviews. I think
it did not, but I'm going to explain why.
Let's be fair to that game. You were just coming hot off the heels of GoldenEye.
That's exactly why that happened. Because the thing is, I actually was introduced to Golden 007 because
in terms of frame rate, how smooth the game was, I'll give it that. Gameplay lacked something, but it was definitely a very smooth running game.
But see, at the same time, I haven't played that since then. So, for example, Nightfire and Rogue Agent probably were better, but at the time I was so excited coming off of GoldenEye that I thought was good. So you might be right. It might not be that good, but it was just excitement. GoldenEye just left a good taste, and this one left a
not so good.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. But anyway, that's why I put it at number 3. Maybe it's nostalgia feels.
Yeah.
All right. My number 3 for the Xbox 360, Bloodstone.
Good game. Good game. My number 3 is Everything or Nothing.
I'm starting to think these are the games that came out later.
Now, no, but Everything or Nothing, if you think about it, that one was a little cheeky throw at the company that produces the games, Eon Productions, EON, Everything or Nothing. And it sounds like an original Bond title. Like it sounds like Nightfire, stuff like that. Don't sound like Everything or Nothing. Sounds like it could pass for a James Bond film.
Agent Under Fire definitely does not sound like a James Bond film.
No, it does not. But Everything or Nothing does. Like the cast: Pierce Brosnan, Judi Dench returns in her role. John Cleese returns in a role. I think Defoe plays the villain in that game. Like it was greatly voiced. It was great voice casted too. Yeah. Buddy, number 2.
My number 2, I think we just mentioned actually, Agent Under Fire. Like I said, I haven't gotten to play much Bond games, but I felt like that one outside of my number 1 was something that had a little more attention for me under the wing. So yeah.
All right. My number 2 is from the N64. It is The World Is Goldeneye.
Goldeneye. Surprising that's not your number 1, because that's not my number 1 either, because my number 2 is GoldenEye as well.
Okay, well, I guess maybe there was a better Bond game that I never got to play that you guys are about to mention, because my number 1 is GoldenEye.
There is a far better game. It's the best James Bond game ever made, easily. It's From Russia with Love.
See, whereas mine, it's Bloodstone.
Which From Russia.
But I mean, From Russia with Love and Bloodstone are essentially, it's the same I think it's the same developer. It was
I
basically it was I wouldn't call it a sequel, but it was like
Well, because
one
this
after
Bloodstone was like Daniel Craig,
yeah.
and
For
yeah,
Marshall with yeah.
But I
And-
mean, they should go back and remake all the Bond games from the start of the movies, and I'm sure like you don't even need to follow the movies. You could just call it Goldfinger and just make a game. Like it's
Yeah.
untapped territory.
It'll work.
Well,
Like-
oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. But I was gonna
No,
say,
go ahead.
you guys know when it comes to like other things like Marvel things and all that kind of stuff, I jump on it because I'm familiar with the movie, the comics, and everything. I'm kind of in this window where I'm not a big Bond fan, but because of Goldeneye, it's what introduced me to Bond. When I knew Bond existed, but I wasn't really interested into it until I played Goldeneye and became addicted to it. So I had to see the movies. And then the Pierce Brosnan movies were really bad, but I still played a couple of the games, and then I kind of fell off from there. And that's because I have to admit, Pierce Brosnan towards the end of his career as Bond really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, and I think that's why I didn't really.
It also suffered from poor writing.
Yeah,
like-
yeah. So
I
I mean,
mean,
just seeing him surf on. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that.
when I look back at Goldeneye, I remember it as like a fun experience in my life where that's why it's at number 2. But trying to replay it, it's a terrible game. Like it's horrible
It's
in every
clunky.
possible way.
Poor
I don't know
frame
how
rate.
I don't know how we were such amazing experts at like moving around in that game because you move so slowly and you can only move like this.
Yeah,
You know what it was? Limited selection on what to play.
yeah. Well,
And it had auto aim.
Well, you
Yeah.
gotta remember, this is before we got the dual analog sticks on a controller, unless you played with mouse.
But
and
we
keyboard.
had an
And
analog
you had
stick.
to use no.
But we
but
had
you-
one though. We had
You
one.
did have the world's worst controller ever made.
But see, I want to also bring this up is
Controller tier list coming soon.
yeah, right. But see, that's the reason I want to bring up this whole thing is like my top 5. I would say 3 of them I beat, the other 2 I didn't, and then like I only have one honorable mention. It's not even really. I guess it is a Bond game, but I played it because I rented it. So I'm glad you guys included me on this list because I am familiar with Bond games, but I don't want to ever say I'm specialized in it. It was just something that it was there because they started off the shooting stuff for me. You know what I mean? Like the really big, deep into
I
shooting
wouldn't
games.
say I'm an expert on them either. I just
Well-
happen to have played these ones. Where like Bloodstone was a great game.
Yeah.
And it didn't
It's a
feel
cover
like,
shooter.
It didn't feel at all like James Bond, and it had an online mode that was pretty well
Yeah.
handled.
It was decent. It was,
Yeah.
it wasn't. But I mean, that's the thing. Everybody remembers GoldenEye for the multiplayer. Like those story missions, though, were boring. I'll have to admit on GoldenEye. And that's why for me, that was my number 2. Like everybody remembers the multiplayer. Everybody remembers choosing Odd Job and just kneecapping everybody, right?
Well, okay, this is where we differ here. See, I beg to differ. I never picked Odd Job. I was a Xena guy because she was so fast. She's the fastest character that you could literally run circles around people while they were trying to shoot you. And yeah, the worst person to pick was Jaws.
Yes.
Because he was so slow and he was a
Yeah.
giant target. Like,
yeah. Everybody picked Odd Job because he was hard to hit.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
good on
But
you.
I had the game. What was it? The Game Shark, where you can unlock like all the other skins for Bond.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, are we gonna
Just-
go in honorable mentions because we can't? I only have
Okay,
one.
I
So
have
can I
only,
name it?
I
Yeah.
made sure that I selected in the new wave format of doing things. I made sure I selected one honorable mention that I actually really liked, and it was Everything or Nothing.
Okay.
Yes.
For the Xbox. And I just want to say this. I kind of feel like I forgot. I really thought this was an Xbox 360 game. So my Xbox list is kind of scuffed now, but From Russia with Love probably would have made my list.
Yes.
I always thought it was Xbox 360, but apparently I'm an idiot. So
It was, yeah. I just realized too that it was an Xbox.
I was
game.
primed to be like, yeah, I can't wait to do my Xbox 360 list. I'm gonna have From Russia with Love on it, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
Kane and
but
Lynch.
it was that was a fantastic game. I actually recently, because No Time to Die is on its way, I started going back and watching all the films.
yeah. I couldn't do it.
No, I just started maybe a couple days ago, and I just finished Dr. No. Dr. No wasn't a bad film. It was
No, I
actually
told you it's really
Yeah,
good.
it
It's
is a
so
really-
different.
yeah.
It's when we talk about it in our episode, which that one hasn't been
Yeah.
posted yet. But people, when you watch all the Bonds, especially the early ones, you're thinking of Roger Moore, right? But then you watch the Connery ones and you're like, wow, these are really good, but it has that James Bond feel. Dr. No is super dark. It's gritty. You're like, what the hell is this?
There's that scene where they get to the bar and the was it that tiki bar and like the photographer and all that. It was, and for a James Bond film, there's full frontal.
Yeah.
Buddy's like, hey, wait a minute.
I need to go back now. I'm like,
when they're being, I just, like I said, it's still fresh in my mind, and they're coming out of decontamination, and it's like, what's her? I forgot her, the actress's name, but
Ursula Anders.
It's like all there for you to see.
She's hot.
Well, the problem was I saw so many Bond films at a young age, and a lot of them were on TV that they probably took out those type of things. So it wasn't. It may not have appealed to me in that way. And it's not. I'm not. And anyway, I want people to understand. I'm not saying anything bad about Bond films, but you kind of also have to say, well, when you play a lot of video games and a lot of movies, you kind of have to pick and choose. Okay, what do I want to put my time into? Nothing says anything bad about the Bond films. It's just, when you don't have superheroes in there, like, Putty tends to ignore it.
that's a Putty thing, and that's fair. But like, to me, I look at it as the same way as Marvel. If I'm a new person coming to this, not only do I know that there's a bunch of amazing movies in here, more than half of them are really good movies, and there's this many to watch, I'm excited. But
it's also overwhelming too.
He went back to watch it. I've seen them all, at least every single one, like 5 times.
It's been a long time
when I try to put it on. I don't remember it at first, and I get all excited. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to remember. And then by 20 minutes in, I'm like, I remember everything, and I'm like, turn it off. Like,
but that's how I am with Marvel. Okay. Like, I love my Marvel films. I'm always going to love them, but I sometimes go back. Yeah,
that's how I feel about Marvel too. I put them on. I'm like, oh, excited. I don't remember what happened in Black Panther. 20 minutes in, I'm like, no, turn it off. I remember everything.
Oh yeah, I remember that CG fight scene.
Okay, stop dogging the CG fight scene, because the rest of the movie is so good.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
It is. That's one of the movies with the stronger storyline.
If you want to dog CG fight scenes, let's talk shit about Shang-Chi at the end of the movie, okay?
Anyway.
He hasn't even... Did you watch it yet?
I watched this. I watched a pirated copy.
Oh, yeah, he watched the good version that I had to get stuck with. But, I mean... Back to James Bond games.
Yes.
So
James Bond games.
Is it okay if I jump on this before I can probably never jump on this again? I only had one honorable mention, and it's not saying it's a good one, but it's literally the only other James Bond game I actually remember playing. And so I'm gonna throw it out there because probably none of y'all have it on the list, or you might, and I'm just gonna bring it up now. And that's 007 Racing.
Oh, I have it on my list. I own it. That was in my package of The World Is Not Enough, Die Another Day.
I rented that, and I thought it was the most hilarious thing, but I loved it.
Everybody was making a racing game. Everybody had a racing game.
It's actually a pretty fun game.
It is a decent racer. Yes, I agree with that. My honorable mention, like you said, the one that came close to the list, and was License to Kill. I think I played it on the Amiga.
That's what we were talking about. It was a PC game.
Yeah. And it played a lot. It's played like Spy Hunter almost. The game Spy Hunter.
Really?
Yeah. It's short. It was like, I think there were only like 5 levels.
It's a pretty decent game. I never played it, but people talk about it all the time.
It was a really, really fun game.
All right.
I think I
emulate it right now.
Yeah. No, load it up on if you have an Amiga emulator, do it. It's I'm not condoning, but
I mean, I am.
Okay.
I have a bunch of them. Honorable mention.
I got a few more too, but yeah.
So World Is Not Enough. I know we ragged on Putty for it, but I mean, I think it's worth talking about because it was like the better version of Goldeneye. It just didn't really do anything better. It had better capabilities as a game at that point.
Well, again, I didn't mind you guys ragged on me because this is like...
No, I mean, but like I was just doing that because... making fun of your list, but it's actually not that bad of a game.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Again, the reason why the other ways you may see me defensive is that when I know something, I'm familiar with it, I may get defensive because I feel like at least when I have the knowledge, I have a good reason to defend it. This, I had no knowledge of the movies as much as other people, and at the same time, I just got off the Goldeneye trip, so I was like, "Oh my god, Goldeneye's great! I can't wait to do this." No, it's not the best. That's why it's number 3, but it's also why I didn't go back and look at it now, or even back then when I played the later ones and go, "Oh wait, this is horrible," because it's that fog. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when I think Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the best games, even though Sonic 2 is better. But then when I go back and play Sonic, I'm like,
it's the nostalgia factor with the rose-colored glasses, they call it, right?
Yeah, and I did that. And again, I'm not gonna I mean, I tend to go back on old things. Like I was actually looking for an old Maximum Carnage cartridge the other day.
Those
and
are
everything.
hard to find. Those are
I'm only
rare.
gonna.
Those
We'll
are
talk about
rare.
that on the side. I found out there's so many reproductions out there, and I found a red one. And I was just so mad because I was like, I want one so badly.
I
But
still have my Genesis one.
I'm so. Is it the red one or the black?
Yep, the red one. The red one.
How much do you want to sell it to me?
Nope.
0. Okay, so speaking
back
of
to James Bond.
speaking of Genesis, I have the Duel.
Yes,
which I actually played.
I think I had that on the Master System.
Yeah, it was Master System, SNES, and Genesis, I believe.
Yeah, but they were different versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all slightly different. Also, we could stay in that era. James Bond Jr.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a good game, but I played it at my friend's house a lot on Super Nintendo.
I was actually, when I was making this list and I was looking up games, I saw a bunch of new stuff. And then when I saw they made a game called James Bond Jr.
Based on the cartoon series.
But I never, that's what I'm saying. I never
even
knew
the
that
cartoon
existed. Yeah. And that's the
I love
thing.
that show.
So
I never knew all that existed. But
so the thing is, this was James Bond Jr. What I want to know is what kind of weird family do they have? Because he's supposed to be his nephew.
It's his nephew. So his sister named him James Bond Jr.
Yeah. Look at the look of confusion on Buddy's face. See.
Anyway, so
so Jerry Springer, we need to get on right now.
Yeah,
right. Did we talk about Nightfire?
Not enough.
Did anyone have Nightfire?
I had Nightfire as my number 5.
Nightfire is a pretty good one. Okay, so I have one more.
Sure.
It's actually a good game. Quantum of Solace.
I was just about to bring that up. Developed by Treyarch, the same guys who did Call of Duty.
No way, really?
So this is how this game is made. So they tried to develop a game for
it was supposed to be DLC. It was supposed
to be it was supposed to be Casino Royale.
Okay.
But they didn't have at that point, I believe Xbox 360 had just come out ish. And they didn't know really how to develop for it yet. Yeah. So it took them so long to make the Casino Royale game that Quantum of Solace had already come out. So they're like, okay, make a Quantum of Solace game. So what they did is the game starts off with you and the girl.
Yes.
And she tells you her backstory in text. And then you tell her your backstory, and then you play the whole movie of Casino Royale, and then it comes back for 5 missions of Quantum of Solace, and then that's the end of the game.
But I mean, the shooting
mechanics, a really good game.
Yeah, because it's Treyarch though, so the shooting mechanics are fantastic.
Well, the opening scene where you do the parkour and you're running across everything is amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Treyarch also did they do any? I think they did Spider-Man too. The Web of Shadows, or Shattered Dimensions.
Is that the one that sucked? Shattered Dimensions, I think.
Yeah, or Shattered Dimensions.
Shattered Dimensions. That was the bad one, right?
Yes, that was the bad one.
That had Spider-Man 2099.
And that might have been the one I tried to remember. Is that the one where it has Venom involved?
I don't remember if Venom.
No, Venom. That's the one to symbiotes. That one was Shadow something.
It's Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows. Okay. That was the good one.
Yeah, that was the good one. And then the sequel to it was Shattered Dimensions. Or the other way around.
Yeah, I know they were involved somehow.
Listen, we're not going to get into guaranteeing you that any of this is real information because we're just usually I'm the one that doesn't know anything that I'm talking about because I don't have so many names of things in my head.
But Shattered Dimensions was the sequel to Web of Shadows. Web of Shadows was the better one. Web of Shadows was based off of the same mechanics as Infamous.
Yeah.
I'm
about as sure of this, I would say 90%. As 90% of my memory is taken up by remembering all the words to Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
Meanwhile, on the James Bond list we're supposed to be talking about.
I mean, I want Adam Sandler James Bond. Can we just make it happen?
I can't believe it. I'm James Bond.
Yeah. I will take it. Did anyone ever notice that Ryan Reynolds is like the new Adam Sandler?
But he's a better. Well,
really?
No, I can't say better.
Like he always plays the same kind of goof. Like he's just always the same goof.
Yeah. In his
and he kind of has a like when he says things.
Depending on the obviously, I guess depending on the movie though.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing with Adam Sandler as well. Because like Punk Drunk Love is never a hey give me kind of movie. You know what I mean? So
and neither is Uncut Gems.
I mean, it's kind of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Holy shit! I'm gonna calm. Okay, anyways.
What's the stupid Halloween one that he did with
QB Halloween, the greatest movie of all time.
That's the only one I haven't seen yet. Still, I need to watch.
Okay, I will not accept QB Halloween slander.
Oh no, actually, you know what?
I actually like that movie.
I need to make. I'm not seeing it. So how about this? We are literally in October for Halloween. I will watch it, and we all can talk about it, and maybe make a video on it on my channel. How about that?
Sure, let's do that.
We just set up
QB Halloween. So let us
a retrospective
on Putty Man's channel. Join us for that on Halloween.
The
live broadcast. Halloween. That's it.
And that's how we're wrapping up the James Bond episode.
I think that's it. Yeah, because other than that, there weren't that many good James Bond.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
There's actually like 35 games. All the ones that have been named here are the better ones.
Yes, there were a lot.
Please do yourself a flavor and play From Russia with Love. Do yourself a flavor and lick From Russia with Love, and you won't be upset.
Yes,
it still holds up.
Yes,
they did a remake on something. I don't know what it was. I believe so. Yeah,
I know they did a GoldenEye remake on the Wii.
No, wasn't it later than the Wii?
Or was it on the Xbox?
I think it's on the Wii.
I think it was the Wii.
Anyways, who cares? Just play.
Who cares about the Wii
games?
Yeah, whatever. Go play From Russia with Love. Play Bloodstone.
Yeah, play Bloodstone.
Hashtag Adam Sandler for James Bond.
Hashtag Hubie Sandler.
Hubie Sandler.
The wrong thing. Okay, hang up on him quick.
All right. On that note, guys, we'll cut this one short. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Hey.